McHale who gets a catch. He's got patrol.
It's a battle of North and South in the Metro East Conference. North St. Paul and South St. Paul, that is. Mike Beaton and Ted LaRue with you. High school girls soccer, the final scheduled regular season game at Polar Stadium. North St. Paul hoping to get their first win of the season. South St. Paul looking for a little bit of momentum heading into potential postseason situation. And Ted, we've seen this all throughout the state conference-only schedule, and the Metro East, the Suburban East, looking to do something similar.
Let's play some real
They would
Thursday
set up a
night
conference
football.
tournament. Here's a look at the two teams, and both have some work to do and would love to use this game as a tune-up.
Yeah, this is going to be a big game for both teams. As you saw the records in that opening graphic, 0-5 for North St. Paul, 1-4 for South St. Paul. I think a victory for either team, considering those records through 5 games, is it's going to give either one of these teams a boost, especially going towards a potential, those conference tournaments, those potential section tournaments, which we don't know about quite yet, but I'm sure we'll talk about that here as this broadcast progresses. But a win either way is going to be a big boost for North or South St. Paul here.
And when you take a look at the standings, 1 through 4 and 5 through 8, it's similar to the Suburban East.
Mm-hmm.
That is the format that will be set up for a conference tournament. And, that being done to get some more games in, since the Metro East has a smaller contingent.
Mm-hmm.
On the girls' side, St. Thomas Academy, of course, an all-boys school, so they don't play girls' soccer here. But since there's no premonition on sections or state, that's one way to get some more games in and a chance to get some more ranking points, perhaps, if we do have a postseason.
Exactly, it's good. And I think a lot of people around the soccer community in Minnesota have talked about the no non-conference games. A lot of times you use those non-conference games as tune-ups, especially, a lot of times high schools are scheduling, tougher high schools, some interconference matchups and it gives you a really good gauge, I think, at the end of the year. And when you get to those state tournaments, it helps with state tournament seedings kind of at the end of the year. Well, this team from the West Metro beat this team from the East Metro, and it makes things a little bit easier. Now this year you won't have that. So a lot of people on the same playing field.
As you saw in the opening graphic, even though South St. Paul is just one win, 3 of those losses were 1-goal games. So the Packers have been in some close ones. It's just finishing those tight matches. That's where they have struggled, and then they got a big win. Their lone win coming against Tartan 7-2. But South St. Paul, they've been knocking on the door all season. 1-0 loss to Simley, 2-1 to Henry Sibley, 2-1 to Matamidi, a regular contender in Class A. So the Packers, they're right there, and if they get an opportunity to play beyond this conference tournament, who knows? They could be a spoiler in their section.
Yeah, a lot of times when you have those close games, it's a player too late. It's a cross that doesn't quite get all the way through. It's something, it's an offside, just rushing the line just a little bit. So they've been close in a lot of games. You saw that with the average goals per game and the opponents per game there in that second opening graphic. So, if the Packers can, get a big win tonight, maybe boost their momentum a little bit. And on the other side, knowing that for North St. Paul, how South St. Paul has played against these other good teams, if they're able to beat the Packers tonight, that should build their confidence quite a bit as well.
We'd like to welcome those of you watching live on the SCC airwaves and on Facebook. We have moved our streams live to Facebook now, so you have 2 ways to watch us, and then of course we post all the games to YouTube for on-demand viewing. So if you're watching us on Facebook or on television, we're glad to have you with us. And for South St. Paul, not a lot of offense this season, just averaging a couple goals a game, but Gabby Owens has 3 goals, McKenna Deering, number 9, the senior, 2 goals, and 3 assists. So those are going to be the 2 to watch. And Caleb Matuzak will handle the net for the Packers. 55 saves out of 63, or I should say 63 saves out of 71 shots this season.
And right now, Mike, North St. Paul, they're able to get the ball in the midfield, but just getting any sustained attack going toward the box, they just haven't been able to get that. South St. Paul looks like they might have something brewing up here, though.
The Packers have been the stronger team in the opening few minutes of this one.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, you first.
It's been a while since Mike and I have called a game together. For South St. Paul, they've been in the box area a few times here, and it looks like they're just taking their time. Their patience right now is set up, but as you're seeing right now, is that they're able to get into that area and at least play some offense within there.
They can't sustain control, and North St. Paul will get the throw in. North St. Paul, new coach this year for the Polars. Taylor Doss and Thomas Hart, the head coach for South St. Paul. And if you followed high school sports, North St. Paul, the girls soccer program, they've been looking for a degree of stability, and now you have a new coach, and as always, you're trying to build your program up, and that first year can always be the trickiest because you have a new system to learn. And for Taylor Doss and company, maybe the goal isn't winning state, at least for now, but you're hoping let's get a little bit better and maybe get some scoring opportunities, try to build up the program, and then gradually make your way through the rankings in the Metro East and in the section.
Metro East, I mean, I think you mentioned it here earlier. It's not easy. If you want to get that rebuilding effort going, it's definitely not an easy task. Of course, you got Matamidi in that conference as well. We know Hill Murray's a decent club, but we know Matamidi covering games in the East Metro that they're good. You could probably be calling just about any sport, and you could say, yeah, Matamidi is good because they're one of those programs that across the board has multiple teams at multiple state tournaments that qualify and sometimes take home the gold plaque.
And in the case of North St. Paul, let's not forget their section. Their section includes White Bear Lake and Stillwater. Stillwater, a team Ted and I are familiar with. South St. Paul looking for the first leak-out attempt, and looked like Emma Gagnelius was able to get the deflection on it and stop the South St. Paul attack for the moment.
We mentioned earlier, South St. Paul able to play near the box, but North doing a pretty good job as to not allowing them big chances right there. You see the play by number 5, Ingrid Linke there, getting it out, kicking it back to the midfield. North St. Paul has done pretty good, not allowing the Packers to really get in there and get some good shot opportunities.
A little bit of contact we play on. Maddie Suko and number 11 for the Packers, Carolyn McLaughlin, got tangled up. Now South St. Paul fires and scores.
Right inside the post. A beautiful shot there by number 16, Gabby Owens, the junior there for the Packers. And that's just picking her spot, going inside the corner, going high as well, lifting that ball. Tickles the twine, makes it 1-0 SSP.
Gabby Owens picking up her 4th goal of the season.
Another look at it right here, and you see the rush. She's got the position on the 2 defenders, and right there, she's got an open, and there's no one there in that area to challenge her, and it allows her to kind of take a look at the net, and find the spot exactly where she wants to put it. Perfect job. 1-0 South St. Paul.
The Packers have dominated the last couple of meetings in this series. As you know, with soccer, conference teams meet once a year.
Owens in the 7th minute for the Packers.
2018, it was 4-1. 2019, 4-0. Throwing for the Pullers. And we'll do it again. But now the Packers have control. This is number 3, Maya LaBrosse. Well, she thought it was going to be a South St. Paul throw-in, but the official said, no, your team touched it last.
Tried to get away with one there. Not quite. Almost got it. Almost got it.
You can't sneak much by the officials. But North St. Paul looking for their first opportunity to attack here. It's number 29, Ophelia Lohr. She finds Denise Hendon.
Nothing easy right now for North St. Paul. You see defenders stepping up to the ball carrier right now. There's it. There you see just another example.
North St. Paul tried the centering pass, but South St. Paul, I believe that was Deanna Frumming who got the deflection. Now the Packers on the counter. This is Melody Podgorski. She's got a wide open look, and she'll make it 2-0 on the dribbler.
Now Podgorski there, you mentioned it again. She's got, and kind of like that first goal, and she had the breakaway, she had the clearance to be able to think about it, think where exactly she wanted to go. She went almost to the same spot of her teammate, except she decided to go low right there. 2 goals in 2 games prior to this here for Melody, and she just does a phenomenal job getting the clearance. Great job of the setup from the midfield. Right here, you see it again. Great angle at it, and you know she easily cleared the 2 defenders. An easy choice to go to the other side there.
Now 3 goals on the season for Podgorski, the senior forward.
Scoring for South St. Paul, number 12.
And that was set up by the deflection from Frumming, and you just saw South St. Paul methodically move downfield.
Yeah, right now, we mentioned South St. Paul defensively on the other end of the pitch here was that they're putting great pressure, and you're actually seeing it right now a little bit in the midfield, is they're putting pressure on whoever has the ball. But on the flip side of things, when South St. Paul is carrying it towards their net, they don't have a lot of challenges right now. I think they have a little bit more team speed and skill right now in North St. Paul, and I think you're seeing that. Short passes, stringing them together. Once the pass is connected, they keep on advancing.
Number 9 of the Polars, Alexis Hernandez-Phipps.
Oh, looks like a goal kick coming up.
Right, I was going to say did a nice job there boxing out Bella Anderson to stop that South St. Paul drive.
There's head coach Thomas Hart of South St. Paul on that sideline. And he's got to be happy with what's going on right now. A 2-0 lead, just a mere just about 10 minutes here into the game so far.
We saw a similar start in the game that, well, you and I witnessed a couple days ago. Different teams,
yes,
different background, but North St. Paul looking for a setup here. Now South St. Paul, let's see if they can move downfield again as they force another turnover. Here's Abby Roseburn, number 5. Bryn Bauer now. Packers didn't quite have the space.
A lot of times in the higher levels of soccer, your college soccer, your international game, your MLS, things like that, you see a lot of long passes. You kind of get the defense running a little bit. A lot of times in games like this, in the high school game, you know, that can kind of cause some problems a little bit. It allows the defense to kind of get in there. South St. Paul advancing the ball, as I said before, with short passing. And once those short passes together, they methodically, a term you used before, kind of move the ball up the field, and they're really doing a good job doing that right now. Had some contact. And
injury timeout.
Yep, injury.
That'll stop the clock with 29:13 left in the first half. South St. Paul leads North St. Paul 2-0. North St. Paul's last win in this series, the player who was down, Caroline McLaughlin, got back up quickly and returned to the bench, so I think she'll be back in soon. But the last victory for North St. Paul in this series came 3 years ago, as we take another look at the play that led to the stoppage. A little bit of a shove from Ophelia Lohr.
Yeah, I did see the coaching staff when for South St. Paul coming out, they were, let's just say disagreeing with the call a little bit, or I should say no call a little bit there. Now that I'm able to see the replay, I can kind of sympathize a little bit there, but we play on.
I was saying 3 years ago was the last win for North St. Paul in this series, a 3-2 victory over South St. Paul back in September.
the ball looks like it bounced off of number 18, Bella Anderson of South St. Paul. So we are going to get a goal kick there for North St. Paul. Possible corner opportunity there, but the Polars will get a shot to set something up.
Goal kick Polars.
Ava Waska was looking to set up with Pogorski there on that last possession, but South St. Paul takes over. They get another quality chance, or came close to one. Gabby Owens was right there, and South St. Paul not relenting on this pressure that they brought. As you've said, not a lot of deep passes. They've been short, methodical, but they have the better ball movement right now.
See a lot of players like they're in one area right now, which some teams might consider to be an issue. Saying, "Oh, why is everybody clustered in the same spot? We got to spread out. We got to advance. We got to get down the field." Something like that. But South St. Paul, they're just it's methodical, and they're very crisp with their passes. Everything is right on target from boot to boot, and that's one thing I think I've been very impressed. And it's patience. They're not forcing anything right now. They're being very clean and crisp in their game so far.
From what I've seen, they look to strike more off a turnover than something flashy. They are hoping to get that change in possession and then make their move, as we saw on Pogorski's goal a while ago. Soccer's
a very interesting game. It's a lot like a chess match. You want to get, it's a lot of, sometimes it can be a lot of strategy. Once you get in front, as to how you get that early goal on the board, how do you approach things kind of after that? And it's very interesting to see how coaches adapt kind of as things progress through a soccer game.
It's a chess match without a defined set of pieces.
That is true.
Well, except for the keeper. The keeper can only go so far, but no queens, no rooks, no bishops. You're free to move anywhere you like.
Number 8.
No pawns here.
Yeah, well, maybe me and you are just pawns in this game right now.
Or the front line.
Yeah. At least for the viewers, we are tonight.
Throw in for the Packers. Just one game tonight. Normally we've had the conference doubleheaders, but the boys unable to play. So in case you're wondering on the schedule why was there one game,
sure,
it's not a mistake. There was a COVID-related infection, as we understand it, for the boys. So out of caution,
yeah, right,
you have to postpone it.
Doing what they do, following the safety precautions. That's kind of, that's how a lot of, obviously, the high school associations and other leagues have kind of done it right now. But this is, it can really bring a halt to your season. But that's kind of the world we live in right now. I'm personally thankful that we're able to be out playing sports right now in the aspect that we are right now. So very thankful we got sports like girls soccer, obviously boys soccer, you mentioned that, swimming, cross country. There's a good amount of sports going on this fall in Minnesota.
North St. Paul, they've been getting a few stops here as of late.
Yeah, doing a pretty good job. You saw that last pass in the midfield about a sequence ago, a little bit behind, and it was because of North St. Paul playing right in the hip pocket, kind of forcing the pass to go behind just a little bit right there.
And South St. Paul turns it over. We'll see if the Polars, that's going to be the big question here. And again, the Polars, just a couple of goals this season, but something you look for as the season moves along, especially for a team like North St. Paul. Can you develop a sustained attack? We saw them get to the attacking third of the field a couple of times, but can they get a quality set of passing down, a quality set of passes, a quality play? Those are the things you're looking for. And you love to pick up the wins, but can you put together a quality attack? Can you get a good shot on goal?
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of, a win's a win, but looking good and really improving as a team throughout that win. Sometimes just as more important as they advance through the season.
Because as you saw, they had the throw-in, but South St. Paul was able to get in, and this has been the story of the first half, getting into the passing lanes, and North St. Paul usually not able to get more than a couple of touches off before a South St. Paul player can get the challenge and win the ball back. They will get a free kick following the North St. Paul foul. This is
Foul the
by
Packers.
one of the few set pieces we've seen here so far. It's been pretty back and forth early in this game.
A short free kick, which goes to the South St. Paul motto so far.
Yeah.
Nothing too flashy. They're not trying to launch those long bombs yet. Keep it simple.
Yeah, when you're up 2-0, there's nothing to force right now for SSP. You know, you just get into your rhythm, get into your game. You're playing most of the game on your attacking side of the midfield, except for right now, of course, as I mentioned that. Keeper going out solid 30, 35 yards to take care of that one.
That was Kayla Matuzek, and that was a gutsy move on her part. There was a North St. Paul player right there. If she misplays it, that net's wide open. But it paid off for Matuzek, or that's Brooklyn Fishbach, I should say. My apologies, Brooklyn.
Always a risky play there when you're coming out of the net in any circumstance. But you got to know exactly what you're going to do, how you're going to approach it. If you've got any sort of hesitation or anything like that, you know, things could go awry pretty quickly.
North St. Paul trying to set something up. South St. Paul on the move now. And we're going to have a foul. That will send the ball back to North St. Paul. A little bit of a push. You don't see as many yellow cards in girls soccer compared to boys soccer. And most of the time, your fouls are for maybe a push-off or something. Not a lot of hard contact.
Foul on the Packers, free kick Polars.
Chance for the Polars here on the free kick.
This is Emma Gagnelius. I saw the flag go up, so North St. Paul would have been offside there, although South St. Paul was able to establish possession. Of course, as you know, if you're a soccer buff, there is no defined offside line.
No blue line here in soccer.
No, but I'm sure you're looking forward to the next time you get to call a blue.
You know it. You know it.
And number 20.
It's hard, you know. This whole COVID thing kind of started almost immediately after the boys hockey state tournament. That usually takes place, you know, early to mid-March there at the XL Energy Center.
Right.
And almost right after that, I mean, can you imagine the reaction of Minnesota if those state hockey championships could have been postponed there? Obviously, we feel for basketball and what happened there.
There was a big reaction.
But
no basketball or spring sports.
Yeah, but you know that was the hard part about this is, you know, especially those. We were there covering girls basketball. Is last game of the season, you know, state championship game. It goes all the way through the semifinals. That was pretty much the last mass gathering. Was at least that I was at, and I think that a lot of people were at here locally. Was those girls basketball and likely boys basketball state tournament, or it wouldn't have been boys at that point, just girls basketball state tournament games.
South St. Paul looking to set something up again. And number 6 of the Polars, Maddie Suko, gets in there, forces the throw in. But South St. Paul will be on the attacking side once more. And, you know, to your point, another team that I was looking forward to seeing before the postponements were put in. We'll see what happens Monday as the high school league board meets and revisits that decision. South St. Paul trying to revisit the back of the net, but North St. Paul volleyball. You know, of course, you and I know about the rivalry with Stillwater. The Polars won their first section title in school history, got to the semifinals, upset Lakeville North to do it.
Yeah, what a job Stephanie Blanda has done with that program for volleyball. She's done a great job. Of course, you know her. She's helped us out in Stillwater Community Television, providing some commentary. But yeah, she's done that. North St. Paul team for volleyball, always competitive, always looking to be in the section final.
So they are one of the many teams in limbo. This is number 8 of the Packers, Melissa Berchtold. 18:55 left in the first half. South St. Paul up 2-0. Shot misplayed. Keeper couldn't get a hand on it. Oh! No foul.
No
Wow.
foul. You saw, it looked like 11, Caroline McLaughlin there for South St. Paul.
She was shoved to the ground.
Loose ball in the box, and you'll see it right here on the replay, I believe. Ball went right through her legs. Yep, she kind of whiffed at that one, and then she gets hit. Yeah, that you saw into that replay. North St. Paul might have got away with another one right there.
Isel Hernandez, she gets the stop, but I agree with you. So a break for the Polars. Let's see what they can do with it, as we have 18 minutes to go.
This is a situation right now. If North St. Paul can find a way, sometimes you get a break, and this might be a break here off the throw-in. You're able to get, sometimes a lucky bounce can kind of, switch things back the other way. You get a one-goal game. Here we go.
Might get that chance here. Nice challenge from behind by Mia LaBrosse. If she doesn't get in there, Denise Hamden, she was closing in, had a good look,
Yep.
but LaBrosse just gets that tap. That's all you need to do. Just knock her out of the groove, if you will. I know that's a
Exactly.
racing term, but that's really what you need here. Although North St. Paul, they're not done just yet. They get the throw in. And as you can tell, there's no track at this field. South St. Paul,
Great ball.
flag stays down. Opportunity for Berchtold.
Good recovery.
And a good score makes it 3-0 South St. Paul. Once again, the Packers score on a counterplay.
Very interesting sequence of events there before Berchtold nets the goal, her second of the season there, as you see for the senior midfielder. Great ball right in between two defenders here for North St. Paul. I'm sure we'll see the replay here momentarily. Here it is. And then great recovery. Looking here right out of nowhere. Comes just within about a half a stride there of being able to knock it away, Isa Avilia. But, yeah, so she splits the defenders, separates, and then the recovery there. But Berchtold eventually finishes to give the Packers a 3-0 lead.
Scoring for South St. Paul, number 3, Mia LaBrosse. Oh, correction, number 8, Melissa Berchtold.
We get confused when the PA announcer or PA announcement kind of contradicts,
assistant
but
number 13, Ava Ross.
they got it corrected.
We're all human here.
I know.
22.
Remember Tuesday, our
Berchtold from
maybe our
Moscow
first
in
hot
the
mic
23rd
moment of the
minute.
season.
Oh yeah. No, it's early in the season. Well, it's early, but late in the season at the same time. It seems like we just kind of started the season, but we're already halfway through September. And remember, these conference tournaments are the first week of October. So technically, we're about halfway, almost 3/4 of the way through this season right now. So there's that part of it as well.
But I was going to say, we were talking about all the methodical passing from South St. Paul, nothing flashy, keeping it simple, and then Berchtold gives us perhaps the most exciting play thus far, with South St. Paul really just setting up one, maybe two passes.
Yep.
And you saw the tail end of that play, but Berchtold, that clever or good awareness on her part in terms of spacing, making sure she was onside to receive that pass. As you saw, she was in the back line. Nobody was behind her, and all she had to do was turn around and fire up the jets.
And we've been talking about short passes all night, but that was a beautiful long pass. When they do break out the long pass, it was pretty good, pretty accurate and on target. So great job pulling that one out. And Berchtold able to finish.
Well, I'm sure the Town Square TV viewers who will be watching this on demand or maybe live are enjoying what they're seeing out of Berchtold and South St. Paul. We have a free kick coming up for South St. Paul, and Brooklyn Fischbach is going to deliver it. Getting the keeper involved here.
Not often you see a keeper right around midfield. And foul.
That may have been on Emma Gagnelius, and that's going to set up a free kick in scoring range for South St. Paul.
Interesting how they approach this right here.
Foul on the Polars.
Free kick just outside the 18 there. They're going to go pretty quickly here.
McLaughlin wastes a little time, and that goes off the crossbar.
Goal kick, Polars.
Right idea, just a little too strong.
If you've ever seen the movie The Replacements, where they bring in the kicker for that's used to playing soccer, and he always kicks it under the crossbar, and they say, oh, it's under the bar, not over it, because he's used to playing the other kind of football, soccer here. Kind of reminds me of that right there, whereas, looking to go, almost got 3 points there through the uprights. Got to bring it down a little bit.
Well, it is a little tricky. There is trajectory, math, all of that. You have to calculate the approach, arc, strength, all of that goes into it. So it takes a little bit of finesse to nail those free kicks. But it's been all South St. Paul this half. And, well, speaking of the football-soccer crossover, depending on what the board decides Monday, if football restarts, now I don't know when the soccer season would be scheduled to end, as we're still awaiting potential postseason options. But you've had several football players take up soccer and cross country
In the Polars, number 16.
under the assumption that they would have to wait until the spring.
You've seen a lot of that, even at the college level. You've seen various high-profile college football players that say, well, I'm going to opt out this season, thinking, oh, we're not, obviously a lot of those Big Ten players opting out locally. Rashad Bateman, the receiver at Minnesota, saying, I'm going to opt out. Now, with sports, you can see it just like the comparison you mentioned at the high school level. At both levels, you go, oh, now we're coming back. Now I got a decision to make. So it'll be interesting to see how many flips you kind of get for locally football players, that maybe decide to do soccer or cross country or whatever. So that'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. A lot of decisions to be made.
Well, no, that's been the talk over the last 24 hours. South St. Paul.
Good ball. A little bit off, though.
Maybe a little deep, but right idea. They saw a couple players downfield. Just over 12 minutes left in the first half. South St. Paul up big, 3-0 over their Metro East Conference rival, and they run out of space there. Berkdal was looking to set up with Bella Anderson and needed just a few more feet. Goal kick for the Polars.
Looks like 4 subs coming in here for the Packers.
As you know, unlimited substitutions at this level. Well, we were talking about this beforehand, and it's been the talk of the sports scene the last 24 hours. I know there are a few parents and athletes who would love to have football and volleyball.
Back in for the Packers, number 5, Abby Roseberg.
In the fall,
number 12, Melody
but
Vigorski.
if you try to bring it
14,
back,
Natalie Henry,
there's
and
a
16,
whole
Gabby Owens.
deal of logistics,
And for the Polars,
an
number
entire
5, Ingrid Lee.
chapter, and probably longer that you'd have to sort out.
One thing, when they had that first meeting, when discussing fall sports, I think a lot of us, you and I included, were just refreshing the Twitter accounts of guys like John Malaya and Zach Halverson who were at the meeting.
Oh, South St. Paul, sorry. They had a good opportunity there, and Carolyn McLaughlin just lost her grip on it.
But, the same's going to happen. I would almost project that this meeting, because of all those logistics involved, they might have a longer meeting than that first meeting, and they're only talking about a couple of sports because of all the logistics that we've mentioned. Players kind of playing other sports and all these other things, that the late season, the late start, the crossover with the winter. I mean, there's a lot of logistics that are going to have to be figured out. And, of course, they're going to do what they think is best for the kids, and we'll see what happens.
Well, that's the idea. South St. Paul on the attack. Eddie Roseberg with the shot. Sam Fisher with the save.
I know here at SEC, you'd be excited to cover some football. Of course, Tartan Matamidi. That has become a game. You can pencil it in for a big game late in the year. That's become a big one. Those two teams have been very, very good on the football field. White Bear Lake has improved a lot over the last 2 seasons on the football field as well. And of course, North St. Paul volleyball. We mentioned them before. So a lot here in SEC country to look forward to should those 2 fall sports return.
Natalie Henry throwing it in for the Packers. 9.5 minutes left in the first half, and we're going to have our first quarter.
Yeah, here with
Gabby Owens will set up.
in the 31st minute.
Corner
My
kick
math
for
is
the
correct.
Packers will be taken by number 16, Gabby Owens.
Corner kick and a good chance here for South St. Paul. Good ball. Good recovery by the Polars as well in the box, though. That's a goal kick, should be.
Solid defensive stance by the Polars there as they try to keep this game within reach.
But that's a good setup. That's a good corner. That's a good set piece by South St. Paul. They came very close to scoring. You got to be happy right there, being able to put that piece right where it needs to.
Back in for the Packers.
Although they didn't score, they know if they get another one, they know what to do.
Number 2,
And I was thinking about what you were saying, all of the teams that people would be anticipating, whether it's Tartan Matamidi football, North St. Paul volleyball that we mentioned earlier. And North St. Paul boys soccer, they've had some successful years in their history, but you also talked about the crossover, and if you try to start a fall season, well, hockey, as you know, starts in November, basketball late November usually. So there's a lot to sort out, and I think what you don't want to do is, I think you were alluding to, is a knee-jerk reaction just because, we're seeing everyone else do it, and it can be hard. You probably read stories about the lost revenue, and even the NFL that have brought back games are still losing out by not having fans attend for safety reasons. But just the nature of it too, where you tell one set of athletes, all right, here's what's going to happen, now you do an about face, that's something to consider. Well, then you can create a little more mayhem unintentionally. South St. Paul hoping to create some mayhem on this corner from Owens.
So here's another shot. Owens will put it in play. They know what they did last time. They know where they have to crash here. We'll see if North St. Paul, though, can defend another one.
Corner kick for the Packers was taken
This
by
time
16, Gabby Owens.
Goes behind, loose ball.
Close.
North St. Paul able to clear it, but it's picked up by number 4, Leanna Frumming.
Two really good corners. And on both of those corners, the ball makes its first bounce, and then it just kind of sat there in the middle for just a little bit. And South St. Paul wasn't able to quite recover and find it in quite enough time to be able to put it in the back of the net.
That hasn't stopped them from trying. Rebound and attempt from Carolyn McLaughlin. Goes over the crossbar, but South St. Paul establishing another strong presence in offense as of late.
Well, that was it was a decent play by the North St. Paul defender. We're going to see it right here. She kicks it out of the way, but it goes right to McLaughlin, the attacker. And if McLaughlin maybe puts it on the ground just inside that right post, if that's where she aims right there, we might be looking at a 4-0 score, but instead it goes high once again. That's about the second time in a row SSP has gone high on their shots.
And McLaughlin looking for some air. Maybe the dribbler was the option, but it's a first world problem right now if you're South St. Paul. You're still up 3-0, and you've prevented North St. Paul from setting up any potential counters that could reel them back in this, at least in the first half. Here's a look at Isa Avila, number 23, senior defender.
Back in for the Polars.
There's quite a bit of youth on this North St. Paul team. Earlier we saw Mal Dubad trying to bring the ball upfield. She's a freshman, and Ingrid Linke, one of the starters, an 8th grader.
A lot of seniors graduated from last year's team. A lot of turnover from last year's team. A team that went 7-9 a year ago. A decent record, right, just below 500. This was a team that was, obviously you go that, you're going to be competitive in some games, obviously with 7 victories. But, obviously when you lose that much, you lose a lot of players that have put up multiple goals. I believe they lost every player that scored at least 2 or more goals from a year ago. So, that's going to hurt.
And as we've seen throughout sports, especially in the high school level, sometimes it takes a year or two to rebuild and reload those programs. That's a deep free kick from Emma Gignelius, a little too deep for her teammates to collect, so Brooklyn Fishbach will scoop that one up.
in any in any sport, it's tough to really tough to rebuild. That's rebuilding can be such a it can be, we'll be better in 3 years, but sometimes I think, as Michael Jordan famously once said, the Cubs have been rebuilding for 30 years, so thanks to The Last Dance for that one. But,
They did win a World Series, though.
Yeah, they did eventually. But, rebuilding can be tough. Sometimes, if you are rebuilding, it can hurt your program a little bit by being at that level. But sometimes you can go through it, and you need to rebuild to be able to get to the right spot. So, that can help sometimes. And sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you're able to draft Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin in back-to-back years, and it works out for you.
Gabby Owens on the free kick.
Hits that crossbar
Just
once
high
again.
Yeah, they've been hitting the crossbar. They're right there. Just can't get the precision they're looking for. So another break for the Polars. And of course, this, it's a little different in high school because you always have outgoing seniors, coaches can change, so it's certainly not the immense prestige, per se, of the professional level.
Right, exactly.
So you can't.
A little bit different.
Yeah, there's no free agency period, no trades.
What if there was, though?
Oh, jeez. Another good ball by South St. Paul. This time it's fielded by Sam Fisher, but the Packers knocking on the proverbial door. I don't want to imagine what high school sports would be like if you had those elements.
Could you imagine the Paige Becker's free agency? Why wouldn't that be something?
Or, regardless of the sport.
Yeah.
So they say graduation's a great equalizer, and then sometimes other teams build their way up. There's a lot that goes into it, and of course a lot of these coaches work regular jobs, so it's certainly not
public schools.
The resources.
Public schools, it's interesting. A lot of times when you get these kids coming through your youth associations, as we're going to get a quick corner kick here.
For the Packers, taken by.
This time they go to the back post. That's Gabby Owens, who's looking to do something with it.
Corner kick was taken by number 12, Melody
good shot.
Podgorski.
Just right by Leanna Fromming, a little wide, but feels like they're inching their way closer on those deep balls. But as you were saying, yes, with public schools and even private schools.
Goal kick,
a lot of times in those youth associations, all you need sometimes is one really good player in your association, and sometimes and teams do really good in the youth programs, and things can kind of build from there. Sometimes one or two guys or girls can excel in your program, and you make these big tournaments, things can flip in your favor.
North St. Paul looking for an opportunity here, and they're going to be hit with a foul as number 11 Catherine Fox pushed over Leanna Fromming, and that's unfortunate because it looked like North St. Paul had a realistic opportunity, or a legitimate one, to get South St. Paul on defense.
Final minute of play in the first half, 1 minute.
Less than a minute to go.
Oh, good ball.
Beautiful
she was
setup.
offsides. I think she was waiting for it.
Yep, had to catch up. Won't matter because the ball rolls out of play. You're not going to fault
Goal kick, Polars.
the Packers for that, though. Abby Roseburg, right place, maybe just a little too far out, and that's why she hesitated, as you noted.
Yeah, she was just waiting for it, just letting the ball coast in front of her. She was a little bit too far ahead. I'm sure the ball was going to go out of bounds before anybody caught up with her.
.15 seconds. Can the Packers get another shot off? Well, North St. Paul would clear it, and that should be the end of the first half.
2, 1.
No, they do get one more shot off, and
Your halftime score.
that's fielded by Sam Fisher, but a strong first half for South St. Paul, and some great drives, if you will. I know you don't have drives like you do in the other football, but South St. Paul showing their ball movement and a strong defensive game, controlling possession, and they lead 3-0 at the half.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. I think one thing, the positive that South St. Paul can take is they're getting good set pieces as well. I mean, you saw they didn't have a corner kick until late there in that first half. So, you know, if they can continue to set up those set pieces, and things have kind of cooled down in terms of normal play, but, you know, South St. Paul, they just got to keep on doing what they're doing. For North St. Paul, they're doing a pretty good job defending on those set pieces. You know, sometimes, you know, the ball is bouncing their way, so to speak. Like I said, if they can get one bounce of the ball on their attacking end, maybe they get a goal or two, we could have ourselves a game here in the second half.
We'll bring you the second half when we return. This is High School Girls Soccer on SEC.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at casaforchildren.org.
Sometimes there's no do-over. Some things you can't rewind. That's when an extra safety step could mean the difference between a close call and a call to 911. Simple steps save lives. Learn more at poolsafely.gov.
I'm a veteran. We hit a mine in Vietnam. When I came home, I didn't know where to turn.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory's been never giving up hope. My wife is always there to remind me we have a life to live.
DAV provides a lifetime of support, helping veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I am a veteran, but after I got out, I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans so they can reach victories great and small.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet. Now I'm getting things right with my family.
I finally admitted, with my PTSD, I wasn't doing well.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
Now I wish I'd found DAV sooner. I am a veteran. My victory is just enjoying each day.
Help support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Chiru has no choice. She and millions like her must walk miles every day for dirty water. But together, we can end their walk by providing clean water close by. Instead of spending hours walking to get water that makes them sick, girls can be in a classroom that expands their minds, and moms will gain back time to care for their families. Sons and daughters can grow up strong, finally free of sicknesses caused by dirty water. At World Vision, care about clean water runs deep. Deep enough to reach one new person with clean water every 10 seconds. Because every child, every person, everywhere deserves clean water and the chance to rise to their full potential. It's true. When you just add water, you change a life. Learn more at worldvision.org.
You see the 4 seniors who were just honored at Boulder Stadium greet their families. Alexis Hernandez-Phipps, Catherine Fox, Isa Avila, and Matty Sugo. South St. Paul leads North St. Paul 3-0. Mike Peden and Ted LaRue with you. 3 goals from South St. Paul coming from Gabby Owens, Melody Pogorski, and Melissa Berchtold. We saw South St. Paul score on a couple of counter plays. That goal from Berchtold showed their long drive capabilities, but overall, this has just been a matter of South St. Paul controlling the game.
Exactly. That's, I think, early on, you see we're going to roll some highlights here of that first half, and they got it kind of took them a little bit to kind of get the momentum, but once they got on the board first, the goals came quickly. Right after that, the second, the third, it really turned out well, and that was the long pass that really, and Berchtold finishing to put them up 3-0. So some really good plays by SSP there in that first half. It kind of slowed and kind of tickered off there in the last, 15 minutes or so. But during that time period, they got really good set pieces, really good corner kicks. They weren't able to convert on any of them, but if they keep trying, they're going to be able to get there. For North St. Paul, they buckled down, bend but don't break. On defending those set pieces, I think NSP, they got to play on their attacking half. They got to get more opportunities in there. Sometimes a break or a bounce of the ball is going to be able to get you to that point, but I think that's where they got to get right now.
3 corners for the Packers. North St. Paul have yet to get a shot on goal. They had a couple of opportunities, but if you're the Polars, as you noted, good job defending set pieces, and they were able to make some heads-up plays, but can they find a way to move downfield and put South St. Paul on defense?
Yeah, that's going to be the big question here. Is North St. Paul going to be able, if it's status quo, it looks like South St. Paul is going to get out of here with a 2-4 record, but North St. Paul, they got to flip the script somehow. They got to put pressure on SSP right now, and I think a lot of that starts on the defensive half. If they can put pressure on South St. Paul, create some turnovers, maybe go back the other way, that could possibly be something to kind of turn the tide in their favor.
Second half is coming up. You're watching high school girls soccer on SEC Sports.
Have questions about the coronavirus?
I'm here to share some simple steps you can take to help protect yourself and others.
Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Wash your hands often with soap and water for 20+ seconds.
Cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue.
Clean and disinfect surfaces and objects. Wash hands after touching commonly used items.
Together, we can help slow the spread.
In 2010, Liz was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. After losing her job due to treatment, she was left with few options. A housing voucher gave her hope that she could find a place to live with her daughter. To her surprise, that same voucher would result in her being denied housing.
I felt so dejected and ashamed. It was shocking to me that people actually just discriminated against you for the type of income you were utilizing to pay your rent.
Now, thanks to a new law in New York State, it is illegal for people like Liz to be denied housing based on their source of income. Do you use non-wage income such as veterans or disability benefits, Section 8 vouchers, or child support to pay for housing? If you suspect discrimination, call 1-800-788-9898 to contact the New York State Office of the Attorney General or visit endincomebiasny.com.
I am at this point proud to say that I am using my voucher and a proud renter of an apartment where my daughter and I are very happily living.
It's all of our responsibility to slow the spread of the coronavirus. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and stay home unless absolutely necessary. You can still use your outdoor spaces like yards and decks. It's also okay to go for a walk or exercise outside. Wear a cloth face covering, stay at least 6 feet away from other people, try not to touch any surfaces, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information. It's all of our responsibility to slow the spread of the coronavirus. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and stay home unless absolutely necessary. You can still use your outdoor spaces like yards and decks. It's also okay to go for a walk or exercise outside. Wear a cloth face covering, stay at least 6 feet away from other people, try not to touch any surfaces, and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
There's a familiar sight if you've hung around the North St. Paul area. The coveted snowman.
Always a great sight. It's especially interesting in the summertime, when it's not cold outside. Interesting, a couple of weeks ago, I rode my bike on the Gateway Trail, the entire Gateway Trail, and I rode past it twice. That is, it's a landmark. You see, I love around the metro, when you go through the street signs of all these suburban communities, you see there's usually a little logo of what community you're in. You see a little rose for Roseville. You see the snowman for North St. Paul, a maple leaf for Maplewood, things like that. So it's a good, and obviously this is the big identifying characteristic of this town.
It's a site that I saw frequently along Highway 36. I know they relocated it when Highway 36 was renovated all those years ago to add overpasses, to turn, flat highway, get some bridges and improve traffic flow. North St. Paul hoping to improve their offensive flow here. They trailed 3-0 in the final game of the regular season. Of course, there is a conference tournament scheduled where teams 1 through 4 would play each other, and that would be your what's the right word I'm looking for?
The 1 through 4 games?
The 1 through 4 games.
Yeah, it would be you just semifinals and then the conference championship from there.
So effectively your conference tournament, just to get some additional games, and South St. Paul will pick up their 4th corner. Let's see what they do here. They've performed well on the set pieces.
Corner kick for the Packers, taken by number 16.
And one difference with this field compared to some others. Let's see how the set piece plays out.
Oh, they had the right idea there. On the original set piece, I believe it was 12 Melody Podorsky who was crashing that post on the far side if you're looking at it from where they kicked the corner. And the ball hit her very close to her foot, just couldn't quite get boot to ball there.
South St. Paul has it again. And almost another opportunity. Bella Anderson maybe a step behind where she wanted to be, but we have another corner coming up. I was going to say, with no track on this field, North St. Paul, one of the few facilities that doesn't have the track encircling the football field compared to Stillwater or others where you don't have ball kids. You see that fencing that surrounds the bleachers, so balls that run out of bounds doesn't take long to retrieve, so you can get right back into it. As Gabby Owens fires this corner, the 5th for the Packers, and it's
ooh, man, going high again.
Right, it was headed by Isel Hernandez and then went right to Abby Roseburg, I believe, and just a little too strong on that header, but another one of those situations where a North St. Paul defender inadvertently deflects it to a South St. Paul player.
Yeah, that was tough, and then once again going high, and again this time a header, but once again they're very close. I mean, you got to like what you're getting. Tom Hart has got to be happy, head coach of South St. Paul. He's got to be happy with what he's seeing right now. They're getting plenty of chances, but later in the season, they might have to bury some of those chances in order to kind of advance to where I think they want to go through sections and all that.
Of course, we'll have to wait and see what a postseason format will look like if we do have sections and state. The only word we have received to this point is a culmination event from the high school league, but they haven't gotten any more details as to what that means. And I don't think they're trying to be dodgy. I think they just have to be vague, knowing that a situation that looks okay one week could change in one direction or the other in a short amount of time.
Good defense on the cross there.
And a foul.
Yep.
Ophelia Lohr, a couple of times she's been hit on contact fouls there, and another free kick for the Packers.
Good position here for a free
Foul,
kick.
Bowlers, free kick Packers.
And this will be Melody Podgorski. Hit the crossbar again, and the ball sails over the fence.
I mean, I get the idea. I get what they want to do. If you look at the keeper is a smaller keeper, you know, and they want to go high. I get what they're trying to do. I understand why they're doing it right now, trying to take advantage of the height disadvantage in net there, but they're just they're not quite hitting their spots in the net.
And things almost unraveled for the Polars there, because on the goal kick you saw Isel Hernandez duck so the ball wouldn't deflect off of her, and that allowed a South St. Paul player to touch it, but North St. Paul able to hang on to the ball momentarily. Just one of those quirks that come with the sport of soccer and with everyone being in the field to play. But I was saying before, like at Pony Stadium or facilities, because most high school teams play their soccer games at the football stadiums.
Right.
You know, you can use the lack of ball kids and the space to your advantage
Yes.
and just run out the clock. You can't do that here.
Yeah, we were doing, of course, that game the other night for Stillwater Community Television, where Stillwater was facing Eastridge, and I think a lot of times at the end of that second game, which was the girls' game that night, Stillwater had a couple of goal advantage. They just kept kicking it out of bounds because, you know, you kick it out of bounds and there's that 8-lane track. Well, they got to run and go get it, you know, then they got to come back and, you know, before you know it, you got 25 seconds that just ran off the clock. So it is an advantage, you know, with schools that do have a track. And obviously here at North St. Paul with no track, right there, right away, the ball's right within distance to be able to grab it with a quick throw-in. And it is a rarity nowadays, especially at these bigger high schools, where you don't see the track around the football stadium. So.
And again, one of those circumstances that really take effect in a season like this where you have a limited number of staff on the field. St. Paul able to clear it, although they will concede a throw-in for the Packers. Once again, looking to utilize the diminutive Sam Fisher, the keeper for North St. Paul. And you see this all the time at the higher levels too. You know, you try to get those long balls, put some air into it, and maybe you put a little too much. So you're not going to fault an attacking player for employing that option. There's just a lot of precision that goes into those deeper shots. Regardless of what happens for South St. Paul, they would be in the 5 through 8 pod for the Metro East, as they can't catch Hill Murray or Simley in terms of points. But especially in Class A, they were a 3 seed in Section 3 Class A and lost to Highland Park in the first round a year ago. And as we were saying earlier, even if this game would seem like a breeze for South St. Paul or North St. Paul, it's a tune-up opportunity, and both teams, they get a couple more games to further refine their sets, their abilities, and what they want to do. But with a limited number of games put in place by the high school league, every win counts, every opportunity counts, because if there is a postseason, you don't get a lot of chances to craft your strategy compared to a normal year.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's been tough for everybody. It's kind of one of those things where, kind of everybody's on a level playing field, unfortunately. But, that's kind of the way. It's just how are different teams going to adapt? I think the ones that adapt better are the ones that are going to be more successful should we have section and state tournaments.
And, of course, SCC will have updates on their Facebook and Twitter pages, whatever the sports season looks like. So if football and volleyball do come back, or if there is a postseason event for soccer or track, well, you'll know when we do.
Yeah, and everybody's just counting down to Monday. I think that's kind of the big thing right now. Is of course we're going to find out about section and state tournaments. I think at a later date. But, that is going to affect a lot of people, kind of what the decision comes out of Monday. I think what they're talking about is an early October start for both football, and volleyball. So it's going to depend, because these seasons could go into December. State tournaments could be in early December for these fall sports. So then the winter season might get pushed back, to starting around that time, or maybe second week in December or something like that. So this can affect a lot of people and kind of how they approach the high school sports season going forward.
One of my friends said this Monday meeting could set the stage for the rest of the season potentially. Yep. Foul on North St. Paul. Another free kick for South St. Paul. That's Maya LaBrosse. Fromming hesitates, takes a shot, and Fisher able to corral it.
That was close. I believe if it goes off the keeper and then out of bounds there, that would have been a corner kick. Is that correct?
Yes, if it goes off.
So they avoid
if it goes off a defending player on their side of the field, that would have been a corner. So that was a close call on the part of Fisher. And you were discussing the rarity of, or the increasing ubiquity of soccer, football, multi-purpose facilities. Well, South St. Paul, their field, Ettinger Field, I don't know if you've been down there. That's where South St. Paul girls call home. It's set up similarly to Polder Stadium.
That is one venue in the Metro I have not been to.
It is a sight to see. I've done football, I've done soccer there. It's in the middle of this valley, or kind of this hilly area, so players often have to walk down to the field. They take that stairwell. You don't have a track, or...
I do like the setups. You talk about some of these stadiums that start high and go down low. I do like the East Ridge kind of has that at their football stadium where you kind of drive up a hill parking lot and then you walk up basically right at press box level and then you go down from there. I really like that. I know there's other schools, some of them are escaping my mind exactly which ones have that. Shakopee's another one that has that. So those are interesting setups. Each kind of one has their own setup, but I kind of like how you just walk right in and past the press box right into the stadium. And you're right there. So each one's got their different setup, and then you got O'Shaughnessy Stadium. So that it's got a very cramped press box in there. I just thought I'd mention that. But we've talked about that a couple of times, Mike and I, in our discussions, especially with St. Thomas going Division I. Should be interesting out there. Of course, Greeton-Durham Hall plays football at O'Shaughnessy Stadium.
Well, in the Metro East and this region, as we have a corner kick, it looks like. It can be tough to tell. Okay, it is a goal kick. It's tough to tell sometimes when you look at the reaction. But, Tartan, we've done a soccer game there. I've done some football there. They have the dual-sided press box.
Yes. That's unique.
One of the few stadiums that has an area on both ends, and of course coaches and broadcasters, ourselves included, set up on the visiting side.
Right.
Matamidi has that windmill.
Yep. Matamidi is a pretty good facility, good school out there. A lot of good ones. A lot of good ones in the area. We're fortunate to have some good facilities. Of course, a majority of these bigger schools within the metro. There's the windmill. We're talking about the windmill here. You know, a lot of these, the field turf, I think, has been a big thing for a lot of these big metro schools. There's only a few that don't have it. Schools that pop to mind are Forest Lake and Blaine that still have the grass surface at their schools. Blaine might have changed since then, I'm not sure, but a couple of years ago when I covered a game there, the Blaine did still have the natural grass over there, but you know, I think the turf kind of prevents injuries a little bit more, and it's a little bit easier to maintain and stuff. Obviously the drainage, it's a lot, so it's good to have those types of surfaces at these facilities.
South St. Paul on the move. Can Abby Roseberg catch up to it? No, Fisher's going to dive on it first. We're seeing a similar narrative play out here. At the end of the first half, where South St. Paul getting a few chances, their shots have been a little off the mark, but sustaining a good deal of pressure on offense and not allowing North St. Paul a chance to set up any kind of counter.
Yeah, South St. Paul, kind of like the first half, they've kind of dominated the time of possession, and they've really done a good job with ball control right now. And you know, as long as they continue to do that, they'll be sitting pretty good, but not quite as many chances as they had right now in that first half. But still, a lot of time to go, a lot of time to kind of create some positive energy as they head forward. Good play.
That was a good lob from Gabby Owens to Kylie Yavazic.
Good coverage, though, by North St. Paul.
Owens. Oh, that goes off the back of Isel Hernandez. Owens was going to put some air on that again, and Hernandez, I'd say that might be one of her best blocks of the season.
Yeah, she turned her back into that one. You know, so she's kind of sacrificing for the squad there and doing what she needs to do to prevent a goal.
And she knew it was coming, as you saw in the replay. She braced herself, did the spin turn.
Yeah.
And just figured, I can't use my hands, but I can use some other body parts. And we've seen position players do that. South St. Paul, loose ball.
Oh!
Number 19, Ann Balza, just a step behind. It took a deflection right to Abby Roseberg, and North St. Paul catches another break.
They do. Yeah, SSP has had, they could be out to a 5 or 6 goal lead at this point if they would have even buried half of these chances, you know, that they've had. So many chances here in this game.
They may get another one. And a good clearance by Catherine Fox.
I think if this continues to kind of go the way it is, North St. Paul can take some positives out of this one. They've defended pretty well when South St. Paul's had their opportunities as we get a foul.
Great timing on your part, praising North St. Paul, and then they concede a free kick. That was
Seems
a little
that's how it
campo on
goes
the
all
foul.
the time, yeah.
Well, you know how the announcer's jinx goes.
Yeah.
A yellow card to Lily Ocampo. That will come in the 58th minute. I don't know if we can get another look at that. I saw the play, and it was a foul. I didn't know if it was enough to warrant a yellow, but the official thought so.
Hard to see there from the far side of the field, at least from our vantage point, and of course the camera's vantage point.
So a free kick coming up for Maya LaBrosse.
And for the Polars, number 5, Ingrid Linke, 12, Sandra Moore, 13, Maya Ingberg, and 23, Issa Villia.
North St. Paul putting in a few more substitutions while that was taking place. pass. There's a dribbler from LaBrosse, and Fisher will clean that up.
I think North St. Paul, I think, as we said, they've been defending well. I think they can take a few more positives. They can get a couple of good chances here. I think they can take some positives away from this matchup.
Well, they have been absorbing a lot of attacks from South St. Paul and just shrugging them off here in the second half. Going back to what you said, bend but don't break. So they've been taking a lot of shots, withstanding several assaults on offense from South St. Paul, and they just keep batting them away.
I think they got to get an attack of their own. I think that would really help them out a lot about if they can spend some time in their attacking end and get some good opportunities. I think that would help out their confidence a lot.
One thing they have to do is get possession of the ball, and South St. Paul has limited those opportunities.
Yeah, play just stopped there for a little bit after no foul was called. I think some people on the field thought it was going to be a foul, but nothing happened.
Yeah, you saw Roseburg hit the turf, and instinctively, I've seen this happen all the time. No matter the sport, players will freeze up, or they think there's a call or a foul, and here's a chance for North St. Paul. This pass onside.
Flag down, yep.
So Abigail George can't get around her defender. Leanna Froming intervenes in time.
Great chance. Well, they keep it in.
Abigail George with the blue shaded ponytail. Now South St. Paul with numbers. And a nice deflection by Emma Gagnelius. "19 minutes, 23 seconds. In this one, South St. Paul leads 3-0. Again, they can't move up the standings in the Metro East. But, as we said in the open, 3 losses
Back in for the Packers,
in 1-goal games. If you can turn those results into wins heading into whatever the postseason looks like, especially if we do have a section or state tournament. You know, we've seen the South St. Paul team in their section, you know, in 3A. You figure a school like Visitation, Holy Angels, they're going to be the front runners. But South St. Paul, if enough things go their way, they could play a sleeper in that group.
They could. I mean, they're playing really good right now. I think I'd feel a lot better about them if they finished some of these plays down in the box that they've had. But overall, they played a really good game. I think we've talked about how they've played a disciplined game. Haven't really committed a lot of the mistakes themselves, which is the make of a team that you want come postseason time. But you mentioned in 3A there that especially Holy Angels and Visitation. You talk about those two teams that it's going to be tough to get past them.
We see Brooklyn Fischbach heading out close to midfield. That's about the only piece of action she's had to participate in this game. No shots on goal on her end, so as a keeper, you don't mind, I guess, if it's a boring outing and you don't have to field too many shots, but
it's kind of like a left fielder in the middle of a no-hitter. It's like, what do I do out here, man? You know?
Well, and speaking of opportunities and tune-ups and strategies in a game like this, as that shot, I think North St. Paul player got a piece of it that allowed Fisher to respond. For someone like Brooklyn Fisher, the keeper for South St. Paul, this is one of those games where, hey, my team's up 3-0. I haven't had to hang out too much in the 18-yard box. You know, this is one of those moments where you can try some setups or try to set up plays. As you can see, she's set up just outside the attacking third. And play upfield. been all South St. Paul in the second half. No goals, but completely dominating the possession and keeping the ball to the attacking side of the field. More subs coming in for the Packers.
Good opportunity for some of the other players here to get some time. This season, of course, with a shortened schedule, you know, there's some every minute that they're playing right now is an impactful minute.
Back in for the Packers, number 6, Addie Waska, number 8.
Good stuff for South St. Paul
Melissa
to be able to get some of their
and
reserves out there.
14, Natalie Henry.
Well, in North St. Paul, even though the last few years haven't been dotted with the success I think they would like to have, 2015 was their last year above 500. They went 10-4-1. They were the 3 seed in Section 4-2A, and then Stillwater got the upset on them. There's a dribbler that's fielded by Fisher, coming from Anasquira, number 21.
Of course, you mentioned we mentioned earlier this broadcast, the section play that North St. Paul has to deal with, of course, there in 4. So it's, you know, it's not going to be easy. Of course, you've got Stillwater up there that has made the state tournament the last couple of years, and then there, you know, the Suburban East Conference in most sports is a pretty deep conference. White Bear Lake has been pretty good, so it's going to be tougher to kind of race through the section rankings there.
If we have one, again, we'll have to see what plays out. And it's frustrating. I think it's one reason why you see some calls from aggravated parents and players to get out there and play. And it's tough. Emotions can run high, especially when the answer to so many questions is, we don't know.
I don't know. I know that's kind of been the hard part about this. If we could have known back in March, oh yeah, well, you're not going to get, nothing's going to happen until November. We've been like, okay, now we can count down until November. But no, you know, you just don't know when things are going to come back. You mean, like, you know, when it first started, we didn't know when we were going to be able to go have a nice dinner again at a restaurant, you know, and all these things that kind of, you go down the list of all these things. We just never knew, and that's I think been the most difficult part about it, especially with high school sports here. It's we didn't know about the fall season. Is the fall season going to happen? And we didn't know until that board meeting, which, what was that, 3 weeks or so, 2 or 3 weeks or so before, you know, the first games were going to be scheduled to play. So we were kind of in this status of limbo, which makes everything that much difficult, and it kind of remains in limbo, especially for winter sports. And then this thing on Monday, so a lot more to be determined here as we go along.
And to add to this unprecedented situation with high school and college athletics, you know, you only get so much time to take part in them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Compared to the professionals. Now, of course, your window of opportunity in the professional ranks is not predetermined either, but there's a little more leeway where, you know, a lot of athletes, you know, missed out on a senior season in the spring as North St. Paul makes massive subs here with 13 minutes to go. We're not in a mercy rule situation, but, you know, a lot of athletes who couldn't take part in spring events, you know, there are some football and volleyball that are taking up other sports, but they don't have their traditional window, and it's tough. I know I've got a few buddies who I've met over the years through my coverage who are entering their senior year, and I know they're eager to get out there and play, and you want to do well, you want to perform for your school, and you want to just go out on a good note, and not knowing if you're going to have that chance can be nerve-wracking.
Spring was tough, especially, you know, in this, obviously no spring sports in this area of Ramsey County. One thing, Matamidi, we know, covering them in lacrosse the last couple of years, they didn't get that lacrosse season. You know, they've had a really good...
They upset Stillwater a couple of years ago.
Really good lacrosse program out there. So there's multiple other ones as well. North St. Paul, a pretty good softball program. As well. Of course, they host the sections over here at McKnight Fields. So, you know, there's all kinds of really good spring sports. Spring, it just ended so abruptly. And I think that's, there were a lot of, not just here in this viewing area, but all throughout the state, a lot of teams, a lot of players missing out on those baseball, softball, lacrosse, track and field, those types of sports. Unfortunately, were not able to happen.
Well, McKnight Field, I know I've been there a couple of times. As you said, they host sections and one of the better softball facilities that I visited. North St. Paul clearing that one out. Not much to speak of in the second half, nothing unusual, just South St. Paul playing a methodical style and getting a lot of possession time as we see they take control of it once again. A few shots on goal, but no major developments either way. We're going to have a trip call on number 28, Denise Hamden.
Foul on the bowlers, free kick Packers.
Decent chance there for North St. Paul, but defense, good recovery there for South St. Paul. Clock stopped here at 10:44.
We may have another yellow. And the official is signaling to the North St. Paul bench. I didn't see any gestures or hear anything from the players or coaches to signal a yellow per se, but one of the North St. Paul staffers is now heading out to the field.
Huh. Hearing that possible something could have came from the crowd here as well about a jeer possible towards the official, and now meeting, I believe that's the North St. Paul Director of Athletics, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there on the far side.
Jed Helwig.
Yep.
Okay, that's Andy Navis, the coordinator.
Coordinator,
it helps when we have
far away.
Yes.
We'll go with that. Thanks.
And
to
with the masks on too.
Yep.
Well, it takes a community. We're all helping each other out, and that would make sense. Oh, so apparently, a fan may have said something.
Yeah.
Unflattering, and that would make sense because I didn't see anything in the field of play or on the coaching staff that would suggest any animosity toward the official. But I mean, how many times have we heard stories where parents can get a little caught up into it, and
it's an emotional game.
Yeah, and obviously you don't want things to get out of control. I remember covering a basketball game where a fan threw a water bottle on the court. It was a mini Ha-Ha De La Salle game, and the AD, Josh Thoreau, had to go on the mic and say, all right, that's enough. And now,
the fan is exiting to...
Yeah, and that's unfortunate.
Yep.
And the official not taking any business with him. Yeah, it's not a sight you want to see, and you do appreciate the quick action they took, but you hear this all the time, and the PA announcers talk about this, and you see it on all the fields or in basketball venues. Be respectful of the players, the officials, because this ain't like Division I college or the pros where officials and these folks, they're not making a lot of money doing this, and that's not why they're here. They're not worried about multi-million-dollar contracts. They want to set a good example and lend a hand to that next generation of athletes and help build them into leaders in society, whether that's in sports or elsewhere. So
for many years, I was officiated grade school softball.
Oh, geez.
and basketball in a couple of different areas in the St. Cloud area, Minnesota, when I went to school at St. Cloud State, as well as back home in Wisconsin. So it takes a lot to be an official, and I think the big thing, not only in this situation, but I think we can take, and you talk about it every year, this is not something that's going to go away overnight, right? You know, you have to respect the officials and what they're doing. As you said, they're not there for the money. They're there because they love the game. They still want to be a part of the game, even though their playing days and sometimes coaching days are behind them. So they still want to be a part of that game, and you know, you got to respect that. And you know, sometimes it's unfortunate when you get these situations. But you know, having been there, you know, I never officiated the speed of like the high school game, but you know, there's some things to deal with even at the grade school level. So you know, but it's not for the faint of heart. I can definitely say that.
Well, while that was going on, Fromming took a shot and a nice save by Sam Fisher as
she's
Fromming,
done pretty good.
As you saw, went lateral left to right, and Fisher, she's been making some solid stops here in the second half. And to finish up your point, I know I'm best known for my basketball coverage, but I've done other sports as well, and I've befriended many officials over the years. They, of course, officials, they see, hey, we've got cameras, and of course they want to study and improve their games and tune up their performances like the players do, and so they reach out to you. And I think it's a little different for me because I've covered sports for a long time, and I know you don't have control of it, so I get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
As a fan, sometimes you get caught up into it, and you know, when you're young, you might do some things that you wouldn't do down the road. But yeah, a lot of these people, whether it's the coaches or the officials, as you alluded to, many of them are former players
Packers, number 11,
themselves, and they want to stay involved and they want to help out. They want to see that next generation grow with the increase in exposure to high school athletics, as we saw last season with a superstar like Paige Beckers. And even though soccer doesn't have that following yet, you know, you're seeing the culture grow with Minnesota United, NWSL. They have a few teams, so, and don't forget the national teams. The women have done well in World Cups, so there are a lot of windows, a lot of avenues for these impressionable athletes, and that is why respectfulness is so important. That's why every public address announcer brings it up at the start of the game.
And for the Packers, number 5, Abby Roseberg, 16, Gabby Owens, and 18, Bella Anderson.
Yeah, this has been a, you know, North St. Paul, a couple of chances beyond the midfield here in the second half. But South St. Paul hasn't had nearly enough chances that they had in the first half. So North St. Paul has done a little bit better defensively here in the second half.
And we've got another trip. And a little
the Fullers,
gesture of exasperation on the part of McLaughlin, it looked like. But I do have to give props to Sam Fisher. She's made a few stops, had that nice save against a lateral movement from Leanna Fromming. .6:26 to go. And even if North St. Paul won't get a victory in the regular season, you know, you saw the 4 seniors take the field for the senior day ceremony. They got to run up, meet their family, and I think a lot of them, going back to our conversation earlier, you know, people are so accustomed to all these routines where, all right, this is the fall sports window, and here's what's going to happen, and the winter and the spring and so on. And whether you're a top-tier team like Stillwater or Maple Grove, or you know, a team that's looking to build up the ranks like North St. Paul with a new head coach and looking to start a new foundation after a solid campaign last year where they went 7-9, to at least know you got a chance to experience
corner kick for the Polars.
As North St. Paul takes the first corner of the
by
game.
Number 29,
to get a moment like this, even if you don't score a lot or don't win a lot. Those 4 seniors, I saw nothing but smiles when they were honored at halftime. Let's see what Ophelia Lord does on this first set piece for the Polars. Ball is loose.
Good coverage there by South St. Paul. Although there was a loose ball in the box there, no real pole player was in possession. But the good news is they're going to get another try at it.
Well, Fischbach tried to field it, and it went off her right arm, I believe. So Lowell will get another crack at this.
A little bit more air under this one.
And Fischbach gets a clean block that time. Ball still loose.
They did get an opportunity there, so at 2 set pieces there. Not bad, but you know, it's a couple. First one they kind of had a chance in the box, loose ball in the box. This one kind of bounced out a little bit. South St. Paul had pretty good coverage.
Another throw-in coming up for the Polars, number 23, Sevilla.
Under 4 minutes left here in the second half.
And who knows what will happen the rest of the school year. Here's South St. Paul, seeing if they can add one more to the board. Centering pass, Fromming will give South St. Paul the same number of goals as her jersey number.
That was beautiful. That's about all I can say about that. Beautiful centering pass. Fromming was right in the middle of the field, and she finishes to give South St. Paul a 4-0 lead. We're just about ready. Here's the replay of it, and right on the left side here, and Fromming in the middle. You get 3 Polars kind of looking back, and no one playing in and defending in the middle. She's got time to bury that one. To put a good old Brett Favre on the scoreboard there.
Number 4.
Carolyn McLaughlin, I believe, set her up on the centering pass, so she will get credit for the assist. And based on our stats, that is the first goal of the season for Leanna Fromming, so that's a moment she'll get to have. She's a junior, and so hopefully she'll come back. And as I was going to say, who knows what the rest of the school year will look like? Who knows what will happen next year?
Right,
as we're still dealing with so many unknowns. There are reasons for optimism if you do follow the news, but no matter whether you're these two teams that are trying to build their way back up, or a powerhouse like Holy Angels or Stillwater or Maple Grove, a team that makes long trips or deep runs every year, I think if you were to talk to these athletes, and we don't get a whole lot of opportunities, but at least you get a chance to go out there, get a chance to play, and I think you're going to see a greater appreciation from these athletes the next set, because everyone's having to navigate this. I know for us too, we've taken sports for granted for a long time. Melody Pogorski not taking this opportunity for granted. That'll be a save by Fisher, but that was almost a carbon copy of the goal that was scored by Fromming a minute ago.
Yeah, had another attacker there towards the middle of the field.
Fromming now passes out.
Contact over there. I don't think they called anything though.
So, Ted, I know you and I and SEC and just about every station, everyone that works in sports the last few months have been rough, not having games, not having our
will be taken by number 12,
routines,
Melody
but
Pogorski.
I think as we get closer to normal, whenever that is, you're going to get a greater appreciation when these sports come back, because we saw just how quickly those opportunities can get taken away.
Yeah, I think that goes for a lot of things. Sports is just one of those things on the list here. Got a lot of bodies down there. Nothing gets into the back of the net though here. But I think sports is just one of those things, that I think a lot of people, I think missed, and we're glad to have them back playing safely.
Corners taken by
a couple of corners here for the Packers, and that time they cash in. Carolyn McLaughlin, who got the assist on the last goal, will add her name to the scoring column in this one.
So there they go. They score on the set piece. They've been looking for that all game long. The junior, Karen McLaughlin, gets in the right spot at the right time. And here we go, setting up the corner kick. There you see McLaughlin finding the spot within. You can kind of see her coming from the right side of your screen. She finds the spot in the middle of the frame, and sometimes that's what it is with the header, is finding the spot. Where can I come in and get contact, good contact with the ball, and obviously get the ball down and not head it over the crossbar. She did a great job there. 5-0, it looks like. That's going to be the final tally on this one.
5 different players score for South St. Paul, and for North St. Paul, Sam Fisher gave up a couple of goals late, but she made some nice plays, and she's a sophomore, so she'll have a couple of years. And again, hopefully with time and perhaps with the return to normalcy, the closer things get back to normal, North St. Paul, who knows, maybe they can get back to form and become one of those sleepers in the years to come. But it's South St. Paul who wins today 5-0 to pick up their second win of the season. And speaking of sleepers,
we'd like to thank you for your attendance.
This may be a win that was expected, but heading into this virtual conference tournament, they'll of course play it, but you know what I'm talking about. It's not a traditional tournament per se, but you'll get a couple of extra games. This could be the building block for them that could help elevate their potential if there is a postseason. Because as you know, with soccer, it's one of those sports like hockey. You can get a crazy bounce or a fortunate set of circumstances, and who knows, you get to play the upset darling. But an overall solid game for South St. Paul.
Right. They did a great team effort. We mentioned their discipline early in this game. They did a great job, I think, from start to finish. So really liked what SSP kind of came out, short passing, methodically putting the ball down the field. They didn't have a lot early there in the second half, but they got a few goals late. They did what they needed to do, and good things happened as North St. Paul kind of acknowledging the crowd here. Obviously, the seniors were acknowledged here earlier in the game, but South St. Paul did a great job. They did what they needed to do. They played a good, disciplined game. They didn't beat themselves. They didn't turn it over really in bad spots, and they come out with a smiling face just like that snowman. So all is good.
Yes, no matter the result, there's always a snowman to greet you here at North St. Paul. The 5 goals from South St. Paul coming from Gabby Owens in the 7th minute, Melody Pigorski in the 9th minute, Melissa Berchtold in the 23rd, Leona Froming in the 77th, and Carolyn McLaughlin in the 79th. And that does it for the regular season for these two schools as we take a look at some of the highlights for South St. Paul in this one. But we had a blast covering this game live on SCC, and follow us on social media, Facebook and Twitter, for updates on the fall sports season and the winter. Whatever happens, you will hear from us as we move forward. So that does it here from Bowler Stadium in North St. Paul. South St. Paul beats North St. Paul 5-0. For Ted LaRue, I'm Mike Beaton. Thanks for watching.